You check your phone, nothing. You scroll through social media and see groups of people laughing, celebrating, connecting, and you feel something cold settle in your chest. A specific type of silence that society has taught you to fear. They tell you this silence is a problem. They say if you're alone, something must be wrong with you, that you're antisocial, that you failed the most basic human test. They call you a loner, an outcast, damaged goods. But what if they're wrong? What if your solitude isn't a defect? What if the reason you have few or no friends isn't because you can't connect, but because your brain is wired to reject what's fake? There's a concept in nature called the apex paradox. As a creature becomes more powerful, more specialized, more dangerous, its circle naturally shrinks. Sheep move in herds, wolves travel in packs, but the tiger walks alone. If you're watching this, you've probably felt out of place your entire life. You've tried to fit in. You've tried to wear the mask, play the game, laugh at the jokes you don't find funny, but it never quite works. The mask keeps slipping. You're here because you suspect there's something fundamentally different about how you see the world. You're right. Today we're going to break down 7 rare traits found in people who walk alone. These aren't personality flaws. These are evolutionary advantages that make you incompatible with the average social game. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your circle is small, why your standards terrify most people, and why your isolation is actually your greatest strength. But I need to warn you, this isn't going to make you feel warm and fuzzy. We're going to destroy the victim story you've been carrying. We're going to look in the mirror, and what stares back might scare you. Let's begin. Trait 1. You see what others miss. Most people sleepwalk through their interactions. They listen to words at face value. Someone says I love you, or I support you, or we're friends, and they just accept it, because it's easy, because it's comfortable. You can't do that. If you have no friends, it's likely because you possess what psychologists call thin slicing. Your brain doesn't just listen to what people say. It analyzes what they do. It tracks the tiny details, the micro-expressions, the tonal shifts, the timing delays. When someone compliments you but their eyes don't crinkle at the corners, you see the envy underneath. When someone agrees with you but their voice pitch rises slightly, you hear the lie. You see the shadow behind the smile. For normal people, a social gathering is just fun. For you, it's a flood of data. You're watching people perform. You're watching them hide their true nature to fit in. You're watching them pretend. And because you see the performance, you can't participate in it. It feels like everyone's acting in a play where they all know the lines, except you. Or worse, you know the lines but you refuse to say them because they're lies. This makes you dangerous to be around. People who live in denial hate those who see the truth. When you're in a group, you often stay quiet. Not because you're shy, but because you're observing. And people feel your observation. It makes them uncomfortable. They sense that you see through their act. They'll call you judgmental. They'll call you intense. They'll say you're hard to read. What they really mean is, you're a mirror, and I don't like what I see. Think about the friends you've lost over the years. Did you actually lose them? Or did you expose them? Did they leave because you were toxic, or did they run because you were the only one who didn't buy their performance? Your loneliness is the price you pay for seeing clearly. You have an allergy to fake behavior. While other people can swallow the poison of pretending and smile through it, your system rejects it immediately. You're not lonely. You're just incapable of being lied to. Trait 2. You can't do small talk. There's a law in physics called entropy. Everything naturally moves toward disorder, toward chaos, toward noise. Most social interaction is pure noise. Nice weather, right? Did you see that game? I hate Mondays. It's the recycling of empty words that mean nothing. If you have few friends, it's because you suffer from something called high need for cognition. This isn't just about being smart. It's a biological drive. Research shows that people with high intellect and high openness actually suffer when forced into shallow interaction. It drains you. It spikes your stress hormones. Small talk to you isn't polite. It's theft. Theft of your time and mental energy. Most people operate on basic levels. They talk about other people. They talk about simple events. That's where they're comfortable. You operate differently. You want to talk about ideas, about the future, about how things work, about what it all means. When you try to bring up these topics at a party, what happens? Awkward silence, uncomfortable stares. Someone nervously laughs and changes the subject back to something safe. You're seen as too heavy, too serious, too much. So you have a choice. You can dumb yourself down. You can pretend to care about celebrity gossip or workplace drama just to have friends. You can perform interest in things that bore you to death. Or you can stay quiet. Most people choose the performance. They'd rather be surrounded by shallow conversations than stand alone with their own thoughts. You chose the silence. This isn't arrogance. This is energy management. You realize that you have limited mental energy. Spending it on meaningless noise feels like burning money. You crave depth. You want a 3 a.m. conversation about consciousness, about strategy, about mortality. And because 99% of people are terrified of going that deep, 99% of people can't be your friend. You're a deep-sea diver in a world of kiddie pools. Don't apologize for your depth. The ocean doesn't apologize for being deep just because shallow swimmers are afraid of it. Trait 3. You can't be controlled. Let's go darker. Most friendship circles aren't democracies. They're little dictatorships. They have unwritten rules, invisible laws. We hate this person, so you have to hate them too. We believe this, so you have to believe it. We're going out tonight, so you have to come. This is the herd instinct, the biological urge to conform, to stay safe. Famous psychology experiments proved that 75% of people will agree with an obvious lie just to fit in with the group. If the group says the short line is the long line, most individuals will nod and agree. You're in the 25%. You're the glitch. When a social circle demands your obedience, your brain triggers a threat response. You don't feel safe in the herd. You feel suffocated. You have high autonomy. You can't respect someone just because they're popular. You can't agree with an idea just because everyone else does. You require logic. You require proof. This makes you a terrible friend to people who need followers. Some people collect friends like accessories. They want yes men who nod and clap. You don't nod. You ask why. And why is the most dangerous word you can speak to a fragile ego. Because you can't be controlled, you're often pushed out. Groups will label you difficult or stubborn. They'll try to exile you, hoping the pain of loneliness will force you to come back ready to obey. But here's where you confuse them. You don't come back. You actually thrive in the exile. This trait, this inability to be a sheep, is why you're alone. But it's also why you're free. While they're trapped in a web of social obligations and lies, you're walking your own path. You've traded popularity for independence. And independence is a lonely place. But it's the only place worth being. Trait 4. You're building something. Let's talk about time. Most people treat their lives like a waiting room. They're waiting for the weekend, waiting for vacation, waiting for retirement. They use friends to kill time. You feel the passing of time differently. You feel it like a physical wound. You're not here to wait. You're here to build, whether it's a business, a skill, a body of work, or yourself. You're obsessed with becoming something. This is the builder mentality. And here's the truth about building something great. It requires obsessive focus. Brain science shows us that we have 2 modes: social mode, talking, relaxing, daydreaming, and work mode, deep focus, execution, flow state. They can't both be on at the same time. When one is active, the other shuts down. You can't build an empire and maintain a thriving social life at the same time. It's not possible. History proves this. Tesla, Michelangelo, Newton, these people had few friends. They weren't crying about it. They were too busy changing the world. You've probably realized that every hour spent at a bar listening to someone complain is an hour stolen from your future. So you started saying no. No to the drinks. No to the parties. No to just hanging out. And when you say no enough times, the invitations stop. Good. That's the system working. You're clearing the construction site. People take this personally. They think you're better than them. You don't think you're better. You just know you have work to do. If you have no friends right now, it might be because you're in a transformation phase, like a caterpillar in a cocoon. The caterpillar dissolves completely inside. It has no friends in there. No social life. Just total destruction and reconstruction. If you're in that phase, isolation isn't a burden. It's necessary. Don't let the world drag you out of your cocoon before you have wings. They'll crush you. Stay in the dark. Do the work. The friends you lose during your building phase were never going to fit in your future anyway. Trait 5. You reflect people's shadows. Here's something strange. Have you ever walked into a room, said nothing, and felt people instantly dislike you? Have you ever been targeted by bullies or manipulators for no clear reason? It's not because you're weak. It's because you're a mirror. People with high self-awareness act as blank screens. Others project their own demons onto you. This is the concept of the shadow. When someone who's fake, insecure, and desperate for approval meets you, someone who's quiet, contained, and self-sufficient, they don't see you. They see the part of themselves they're ashamed of. Your silence makes them hear their own internal chaos louder. Your independence mocks their neediness. You become a walking reminder of what they're not. And because the human ego can't handle shame, it converts that shame into aggression. They attack you to destroy the mirror. If you have no friends, it's often because you refuse to help people hide from themselves. Most friendships are agreements of mutual delusion. I'll tell you you're right if you tell me I'm perfect. I'll validate your victim story if you validate mine. It's a trade of lies. You don't sign that contract. When someone complains about a problem they created, you don't say poor you. You ask how are you going to fix it. You break the agreement. And when you break the contract of shared delusion, you become the villain. Understand this. Being the villain in a weak person's story is a compliment. It means you've kept your grip on reality. You're not lonely because you're unlikable. You're isolated because you force people to face the truth. And most people would rather die than face the truth. Trait 6. You live in the future. We live in a world obsessed with right now. Instant pleasure. The next scroll. The next drink. The next distraction. Most people live in the immediate present. You live in the future. This is a trait found in high-level strategists and visionaries. You're constantly running simulations. You see cause and effect years before anyone else does. When your friends say, let's just have fun tonight, don't worry about tomorrow, your brain screams. Tomorrow is the only thing that matters. You see the consequences. You see that the habit they're building today leads to the divorce in 10 years. You see that the business idea they're mocking will change everything. You're speaking a different language. This is temporal displacement. You're mentally living 5, 10, 20 years ahead of everyone around you. This makes real connection nearly impossible. How can you connect with someone worried about office drama when you're thinking about the entire trajectory of your life? It's like a parent trying to be friends with a toddler. You can love them. You can protect them. But you can't be peers with them. This creates deep isolation. The isolation of the watchman. You're up on the wall watching the horizon while everyone else is sleeping below. They call you paranoid. They call you a buzzkill. Until the danger comes. Then suddenly they want your help. They want your vision. But by then you've realized something. You can't save people who refuse to open their eyes. So you have to choose. Walk alone toward the future, or stay behind and die in the past with them. You chose the future. And the future is lonely, because no one else has arrived there yet. They want you to care about the party. You care about the outcome. They want you to care about drama. You care about destiny. And because you can't slow down your internal clock to match theirs, you walk alone. Trait 7. You don't need them. This is the rarest trait, the one that makes you not just misunderstood but feared. Most human beings are external engines. To run they need fuel from outside. They need compliments. They need attention. They need validation. They need someone to witness them, to feel real. If you leave an average person alone in a room for 3 days with no phone, no contact, they unravel. Their sense of self dissolves because it has nothing to reflect off of. You're different. You're a self-contained engine. Psychology calls this the autotelic personality. Someone who finds purpose within the activity itself, not an external reward. You don't do things for applause. You do them because you must. You read because you need to know. You train because you need to be strong. You create because the idea is burning in your mind. This makes you immune to society's greatest weapon, social leverage. Think about it. How does society control people? Through the fear of exclusion. If you don't do what we say, we won't like you. If you don't agree, you can't sit at our table. This threat works on 99% of people because they're terrified of being cut off from validation. But what happens when they try this on you? They say, we'll ignore you. You say, good, I have work to do. They say, you'll be alone. You say, I prefer it. This terrifies them. A person who doesn't need others is a person who can't be manipulated. You're a glitch in their control system. If you have no friends, it's often because people instinctively realize they have no leverage over you. They can't bribe you with attention. They can't punish you with silence. You're self-sustaining. And in a world full of people who feed off each other, the self-sustaining person is the enemy. They hate you because you remind them of their own hunger. You remind them that they're slaves to opinions while you're free. 9. The pattern. Now look at the full pattern. Combine all 7 traits. The truth detector, you see through lies. The depth seeker, you reject the shallow. The independent mind, you reject control. The builder, you prioritize the mission. The mirror, you reflect their demons. The strategist, you live in the future. The self-powered engine, you don't need them. What does this create? It doesn't create a loner. It doesn't create a loser. It creates a king in exile, an apex predator of the mind. The reason you have few or no friends isn't because you're broken. It's because you're incompatible with the domestication of modern humans. Society is a farm. It's designed to produce obedient, consuming, dependent sheep. School teaches you to repeat. Work teaches you to obey. Media teaches you to want. Social circles teach you to conform. You failed the training. Your programming rejected the update, and because you refused to become domestic, you were pushed to the edge. You're the wolf they chased out of the village because you wouldn't wear the collar, and now you're sitting in the cold, looking at the village lights, wondering why you don't fit. Stop wondering. You don't fit because you don't belong in a cage. But I need to warn you about something. There's a trap many people like you fall into. When you're isolated too long, the mind starts to question itself. You think maybe they're right. Maybe I am just arrogant. Maybe I am unlovable. You start to soften your edges. You try to lower your standards just to feel warmth again. You let someone toxic into your life just to have company. Or you go back to the herd, pretending to be dumber than you are, pretending to care about things you don't. Don't do this. This is suicide. When a wolf tries to act like a sheep, it doesn't fool anyone. The sheep are still scared, and the wolf starves. If you lower your frequency to match theirs, you won't find connection. You'll find static. You'll feel more alone in a room full of people pretending to be someone you're not than you would sitting by yourself in complete silence. The loneliness of the mask is heavier than the loneliness of the cave. 10. The protocol. So what's the solution? How do you live in a world that wasn't built for you? You stop viewing your solitude as a prison and start viewing it as a laboratory. This is your training phase, your evolution period. If you have no friends right now, the universe has given you a gift. It's cleared the board, removed the distractions, removed the noise, given you the one thing every great person in history fought for: time and silence. Don't waste it feeling sorry for yourself. Use it. Here's your 3-step protocol. Step 1. Radical acceptance of standards. Stop apologizing for your requirements. If you need depth, loyalty, and intelligence, and you can't find it, then you wait. You don't eat garbage just because you're hungry. You keep the standard high. Because the moment you lower it, you signal to yourself and to the universe that you're willing to accept less, and you will get less. Be willing to walk alone for a year, 5 years, 10 years if that's what it takes. One real ally who understands the mission is worth 1,000 people who just want to party. Step 2. Become the signal. You can't find your people by chasing them. You find them by becoming a beacon. A lighthouse doesn't run around the island looking for ships. It stands tall and shines. The ships come to it. How do you shine? By building. By speaking your truth. By becoming excellent at what you do. When you become undeniable in your field, when you become clear in your philosophy, when you become strong in mind and body, you emit a frequency, and the other outliers, the other wolves, they'll see it. They'll find you. Your future tribe isn't at the bar. They're working. They're building. They're hiding in plain sight, just like you. The only way to reach them is to rise high enough that they can see you. Step 3. Wear the mask of sanity. This is Machiavelli's lesson. While you're waiting for your tribe, you have to survive in normal society. Don't go around telling everyone you're different. Don't tell your coworkers you think they're shallow. That's social suicide. Learn to wear the mask lightly. Be polite. Be kind. Use small talk as a tool, not a lifestyle. Think of it like being undercover. You smile. You nod. You ask about their weekend. You blend in. But you never forget it's a disguise. You never let the mask stick to your face. Keep your real thoughts for people who've earned the right to hear them. For everyone else, give them the weather. Give them what they can handle. Protect your power by hiding it. 11. The cost and the payoff. Let's be honest about the cost. This path is hard. The outlier path isn't the path of happiness. It's the path of meaning. Happiness is cheap. You can buy it with a bottle and shallow conversation. Meaning is expensive. Meaning costs you everything. It costs you the comfort of the crowd. It costs you the illusion of safety. But the payoff. The payoff is a life that's actually yours. Most people die without ever having lived. They lived a script written by their parents, their teachers, their friends. They die surrounded by people, but they die as strangers to themselves. You might walk alone. You might endure cold nights. But when you look in the mirror, you see a real human being. Not a copy, not a performance. You own your mind. You own your soul. And that's something money can't buy. Solitude is the tax you pay for freedom. And if you're willing to pay it, you become something rare, a sovereign individual. Look at your life right now. Look at the empty space around you. It's not empty. It's reserved. Reserved for loyalty. Reserved for truth. Reserved for the rare few who can meet you at the level you operate. Until they arrive, don't fill that space with noise. Don't fill it with people who don't belong there. Honor the silence. Because in that silence you're building the capacity to have conversations that can change the world. You're not lonely. You're just the first one at the meeting point. Wait for them. They're coming. But they only come to those who can endure the wait. So here's my question for you. Now that you know what you are, now that you know your isolation is a feature, not a bug, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to crawl back into the cage? Cut off your own wings to fit through a door that's too small for you? Or are you going to accept the cold? Accept the exile? Accept that you were built for something different? The moment you stop trying to fit in is the moment you start to rise. But be warned. When you rise, you don't just attract allies. You attract enemies. The higher you climb, the stronger the wind blows. You think the loneliness is the hard part. The loneliness is the easy part. The hard part is what comes next. The hard part is knowing what to do with the power once you have it. If this opened your eyes, subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started. The empty chair is waiting. Don't fill it with the wrong person.